Have you ever poured your heart into something only to realize it was never enough? I'm Linda, 28, a financial analyst who thought money could buy me a place in my family's heart. For 6 years, I've been the one they called when bills piled up. Medical emergencies, car repairs, mortgage gaps. Always there. No questions asked. I believed my generosity proved I belonged, that I was loved. But at Dad's 60th birthday dinner, surrounded by clinking glasses and warm restaurant lights, Mom's cruel words shattered that illusion, exposing a truth I'd ignored for years. I'm writing this from my tiny apartment, where the quiet hum of the city outside feels louder than ever. If my story resonates, please share yours below. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into how one night changed everything. Growing up as the middle child in our suburban home wasn't easy. Tom, 3 years older, was Mom's golden boy, the football star with effortless charm. Gary, 2 years younger, was the baby, his humor winning everyone over. I was just Linda, stuck in the middle, invisible unless I was useful. I threw myself into school, honor roll every semester, debate club, library volunteering, hoping Mom would notice me the way she noticed my brothers. Her praise for them was warm, unreserved. For me, it came with qualifiers. Linda's smart, but she'll never have Tom's leadership, she'd say, or, she's driven. But Gary's the natural talent. Each comment stung, a reminder I had to work harder to matter. When I was 15, the recession hit Dad's construction business hard. I'd catch my parents whispering over unpaid bills, Mom's face tight when she told us no new school clothes that year. Tom was in college, his partial scholarship not enough, and the weight of their worry settled into me. I decided then I'd study finance, make money, and lift that burden. Junior and senior year, I worked nights at a diner, saving for college while keeping my 4.0 GPA. The full scholarship to State University felt like a victory. Dad beamed, and even Mom admitted I was smart, though her qualifiers lingered. In college, I found my stride. Finance clicked, numbers were predictable, unlike family. I tutored, interned at an investment firm, and felt like I was building something solid. Then the calls started. Linda, honey, Dad's truck broke down. Mom said my sophomore year. I sent $500 from tutoring savings, meant for textbooks. 2 months later, a medical bill needed $300. Then the mortgage. By senior year, half my internship pay went home. My roommates partied while I worked extra shifts, telling myself it was temporary. After graduation, I landed a financial analyst job with a decent salary, but the requests grew. Dad needed a new truck, the house needed a roof, Gary's community college tuition came due. I said yes every time, living in a cramped studio, driving a beat-up Honda, buying discount groceries while funding family dinners at nice restaurants. I didn't notice the pattern forming. I'd become the family ATM, the reliable daughter who never said no. 6 months before Dad's birthday, his chest pains led to emergency surgery. I emptied my savings and took a loan to cover the staggering bills, visiting every weekend to help with groceries and chores. During one visit, Mom mentioned Dad's upcoming 60th, stressed about affording a celebration. I'll handle it, I said, researching upscale restaurants and settling on Meridian, a steakhouse with mahogany decor and city views. I reserved a private room, arranged flowers, and planned a special dessert, sparing no expense. I told Mom I'd pay, but suggested we present it as a family gift to ease Dad's guilt over medical costs. That's generous, she said, her tone flat, almost bitter. I brushed it off as stress, but looking back, it was a warning. That night at Meridian, as I checked the floral arrangements and chose Dad's favorite $80 Cabernet, I thought everything was perfect. I didn't know I was walking into a moment that would redefine my place in the family. The restaurant glowed with warmth, its floor-to-ceiling windows framing the glittering city. I arrived early, ensuring every detail was right. The table set with crisp linens, the wine chilling. My family arrived together, a unit I always felt separate from. Dad looked healthier in the navy blazer I'd bought him, Mom elegant in her burgundy dress. Tom, now heavier than his football days, came with Sarah and their kids, Emma and Jake. Gary, single again, charmed everyone instantly. I sat alone, Marcus's words from our breakup 3 months ago echoing. I was too focused on everyone else's problems. As we settled in, Mom's subtle barbs began. Some of us live within our means, she said when Gary noted the restaurant's cost. I ignored it, focused on Dad's smile, but the tension was already coiling, ready to snap. The server approached with menus, and I nodded discreetly, having already given my card to handle the bill quietly. Wine sounded perfect, Dad agreed, his eyes lighting up as we ordered the Cabernet. But as the evening unfolded, Mom's comments sharpened, each one a reminder of the sacrifices I'd made to get here. When I mentioned my recent promotion, she quipped, "Must be nice to have all that extra money to throw around." I forced a smile, but inside, memories flooded back to where this all started, in high school, when the roots of my sacrifice took hold. Back then, at 15, watching my parents struggle during the recession, I felt a fierce determination ignite. Dad's construction company was crumbling, jobs drying up, and the kitchen table became a battlefield of bills. Mom's anxious whispers to Dad about skipping vacations or cutting extras made my stomach twist. Tom was already off at college, his football scholarship helping but not enough, and Gary was too young to grasp the gravity. I decided I wouldn't just survive this, I'd fix it. Finance became my path. Numbers were logical, controllable, a way to shield us from chaos. I balanced advanced classes with shifts at the local diner, flipping burgers until closing while studying under the fluorescent lights during breaks. My friends went to movies or hung out at the mall. I saved every tip, dreaming of the day I'd make our worries vanish. Maintaining that 4.0 GPA wasn't easy with grease-stained uniforms and aching feet, but it paid off. The full scholarship to State University was my ticket out and in. Dad hugged me tight when the acceptance letter came, his pride warming me like nothing else. Mom nodded approvingly, but added she's smart, but practical skills like Tom's would take her further. Still, I pushed on, arriving at campus with a mix of excitement and resolve. College was liberating. Lectures on investments and economics felt like puzzles I was born to solve. By sophomore year, I was tutoring freshmen in calculus, earning decent cash, and interning at a small firm where I analyzed market trends until my eyes blurred. That's when the first real call came, pulling me back into the family's orbit. "Linda, your father's truck is shot. We can't afford the mechanic," Mom said, her voice tight over the phone. I pictured Dad's old Ford rusting in the driveway, essential for his work sites. Without hesitation, I wired $500 from my tutoring fund, even though it meant skipping new textbooks and borrowing from the library. It felt good at first, like I was finally contributing, proving my worth beyond grades. But 2 months later, another plea, an unexpected ER visit for Gary's sprained ankle from skateboarding. $300 short. I sent it, dipping into my meal plan savings, eating ramen for weeks while my roommates splurged on takeout. The request snowballed. A leaky roof during a storm season needed patching. $400. Tom's college fees had a gap, another $250. By junior year, I was juggling 2 internships, one at the investment firm and another at a bank, pulling all-nighters to keep up with classes. Numbers danced in my dreams, but so did the guilt if I said no. I told myself it was family, that love meant stepping up. My social life suffered. Dates were rare, and when they happened, I was distracted, checking my phone for emergency texts from home. One guy, a classmate named Alex, broke it off after I canceled plans to work extra hours for a family bill. "You're always somewhere else," he said, and he was right. I was tethered to home, invisible chains of obligation. Senior year intensified everything. Half my internship salary vanished into wire transfers. Gary's car insurance after a fender bender, Mom's dental work, even holiday gifts when they couldn't afford them. I graduated with honors, but my bank account was hollow, my energy drained. The ceremony was bittersweet. Dad drove 4 hours to attend, beaming as I walked the stage, but Mom's hug felt obligatory, her comment lingering, "She's focused, but life's more than books and money." Little did she know how intertwined those had become for me. Landing the analyst job post-graduation should have been freedom, but instead, it amplified the demands. Now that I had real money, as Mom put it, the emergencies weren't so temporary. Back at the dinner table, as appetizers arrived, shrimp cocktails and artisanal breads, I suggested sharing a few more. Mom's eyes narrowed. "When you're single with no responsibilities, generosity comes easy." The barb hit harder than before, stirring those college memories of skipped parties and lonely nights. Tom laughed it off, recounting a family story about Dad teaching him to drive, and Mom chimed in, He was always patient with the boys. Girls are more complicated. Gary shared a concert memory, and she added, "Your father made time for what mattered." My attempts to join were brushed aside. When I recalled Dad's drive to my graduation, she said, "He felt obligated. You were always demanding attention." The wine flowed, loosening tongues, and Mom's restraint faded. "Linda thinks she knows best," she muttered when I proposed dessert. Gary teased about my childhood allowance spreadsheets and Tom joined in, the table erupting in laughter at my expense. Dad tried intervening. "We're proud of her success." But Mom scoffed. "Success? There's more to life than money." I sipped my wine, the rich flavor turning bitter, wondering how the woman who'd accepted my checks for years could twist my help into something ugly. The pattern from adolescence was clear now. My sacrifices hadn't earned love. They'd bred resentment. As the main courses arrived, steaks sizzling, vegetables steamed to perfection, the conversation shifted to presents. I watched my family feeling like an outsider in the glow of the chandeliers. The kids fidgeted with their fancy napkins, innocent to the undercurrents. But I knew this night was building to something irreversible. The roots of my teenage vows cracking under the weight of unappreciated giving. The server cleared the appetizer plates efficiently, and as the entrees were served, the aroma of grilled steaks and garlic butter filled the air, momentarily easing the knot in my stomach. Dad cut into his ribeye with enthusiasm, praising the choice of restaurant, but Mom's gaze flicked to me with that familiar mix of expectation and disdain. It reminded me of how things had escalated after graduation, when my new job turned me into the family's endless resource, each request pulling me deeper into a role I hadn't chosen. Right after college, the analyst position felt like a fresh start, a solid salary, an office with a view, colleagues who valued my insights on market forecasts. I imagined building savings, maybe traveling, or upgrading from my ancient Honda. But the first week on the job, Mom called about Dad's truck finally giving out. "We need something reliable for his work," she explained, and I wired $5,000 for a down payment on a new one, telling myself it was a one-time investment in family stability. Then came the house roof, damaged in a hailstorm, $4,000 to prevent leaks. Gary's community college application hit a snag. He didn't qualify for aid, so I covered the $2,000 tuition, hoping he'd finish this time. The pattern solidified gradually, like interest compounding unnoticed. Every request was an emergency, framed as temporary. A burst pipe flooding the basement, $1,500. Tom's unexpected tax bill, $800. Even vet bills for the family dog, $600. I lived sparingly to make it work. My studio apartment had mismatched furniture from thrift stores, meals were simple salads or pasta, weekends spent catching up on work instead of relaxing. While my peers bragged about vacations or new gadgets, I smiled politely, hiding the transfers eating my paycheck. "It's what family does," I'd think, echoing Mom's words from childhood lectures on loyalty. But the toll extended beyond finances. My relationship with Marcus started promisingly. We met at a work event, bonding over shared ambitions. He was kind, ambitious in marketing, and for a while, it felt balanced. Then the calls intensified. Mom needing help with credit card debt from Dad's slow business months, $3,000. I worked overtime to cover it, canceling dates, arriving exhausted when we did meet. "You're always preoccupied," Marcus said one night over dinner I could barely afford. He was right. My mind raced with budgets, calculating how to stretch my salary. When Gary wrecked his car and needed insurance-deductible money, $1,200, I sent it immediately, skipping a weekend getaway Marcus planned. The breakup came 3 months ago, his words cutting deep. "You choose them over us every time." Sitting at the restaurant now, alone while Tom held Sarah's hand and Gary flirted with the server, that loneliness ached anew. As dessert menus circulated, Mom's commentary persisted. "Linda's so generous with her time off," she said when I mentioned working late. It wasn't true. I clocked 60-hour weeks, taking extra projects for bonuses that often went home. Tom whistled at my schedule. "No wonder you're single." Sarah elbowed him, but the sting landed. Mom seized it. "Exactly, she's missing real life, family, relationships." The irony burned. I'd sacrificed those for them. Back in those post-grad years, the demands peaked when Dad's business hit another slump. Mortgage payments lagged, threatening foreclosure. I stepped in with $1,000 monthly for 2 years, restructuring my own budget like a client portfolio. Meanwhile, I drove my old car until it sputtered, repaired it piecemeal instead of replacing it, all while sending funds for family outings I rarely joined. The kids. Excitement over the birthday cake pulled me from reverie, a chocolate masterpiece with Happy 60th scripted elegantly. We sang, Dad blew out candles, his wish hanging in the air like unspoken regrets. Presents followed, Tom's polo shirt and woodworking book, Gary's framed fishing photo, the kids' handmade cards. I saved mine for last, nervous about reactions. The Omega Seamaster watch, admired by Dad months earlier, cost a small fortune, but his joy would be worth it. As he opened the velvet box, his eyes widened. Linda, this is too much. I fastened it on his wrist, the navy face gleaming. You deserve it, Dad. But the table's mood shifted. Gary whistled. That's serious cash, and Tom eyed it enviously. Mom's face hardened, her voice saccharine. When you have no family to support, you can splurge. Her words echoed the resentment building since graduation, when my success highlighted their struggles. I'd paid for Dad's truck payments after the initial down payment, covered Gary's unfinished tuition refunds, even funded Sarah's baby shower when Tom couldn't. Yet here, my gift became ammunition. Dad tried diffusing. Margaret, enough, it's beautiful. But Mom pressed, she's good at buying affection. The accusation stunned me, framing years of help as manipulation. From covering the furnace repair last winter to the new appliances when theirs failed, I'd given without strings, but she twisted it into control. I sat there, the restaurant's ambient chatter fading, realizing how the escalating demands had eroded my life. No savings for a house, no time for friends, a failed relationship, all for a family that saw my contributions as ego. The server hovered, but the confrontation loomed, my patience fraying like an overextended credit line. Isn't it? Mom countered, her voice rising as she leaned forward, the candlelight casting harsh shadows on her face. You throw money around like some great favor, but it's just showing off, making us feel small. I couldn't believe the words pouring from her, the woman who dialed my number countless times for help. Dad looked alarmed. Margaret, not tonight. But she barreled on. No, she needs to hear it. You think you're better because of your money, lording it over us. My hands trembled as I set down my fork, the clink echoing my fracturing composure. Years of support flashed before me, especially the recent crisis with Dad's health that had pushed me to my limits. It started 6 months ago, an ordinary workday shattered by Mom's frantic call. Your father's in the ER, chest pains, she sobbed. I left a meeting mid-presentation, racing to the hospital where doctors diagnosed blocked arteries needing immediate bypass surgery. The bills loomed like storm clouds. Even with insurance, deductibles and extras totaled $18,000. Without pause, I drained my savings. $10,000 I'd built for a down payment on a condo, and took a personal loan for the rest, interest rates be damned. It was Dad, the man who'd taught me to ride a bike, who'd shown up at my school events despite his exhaustion. How could I not? During his recovery, I drove home every weekend, arms loaded with groceries, fresh fruits for his diet, easy meals to reduce Mom's stress. I'd clean the house, mow the lawn, handle paperwork for his disability claims, all while juggling work deadlines remotely. One Saturday, as I folded laundry in their living room, Mom sighed about Dad's approaching 60th. He deserves a party, but with these bills. Her voice trailed off, eyes distant. Don't worry, I assured her, already planning. Let me take care of it. For weeks, I scoured online reviews, comparing venues until Meridian stood out. Elegant steaks, private rooms, impeccable service. I booked for 8, specified floral centerpieces in Dad's favorite blues, and coordinated a custom chocolate cake. The quote was steep, nearly $400 before tip, but seeing Dad smile after months of pain would justify it. I suggested to Mom we frame it as a joint family effort. I'll cover the cost quietly, I said. Her response was muted. Very generous, Linda. But something in her eyes, envy, irritation, flickered, a hint of the storm brewing. Planning became my escape from the loan payments gnawing at my budget. I selected wines, imagining Dad's delight, and even arranged transportation for Tom's family to avoid parking hassles. Yet doubts crept in. Marcus's breakup had left me raw, questioning if my family focus was self-sabotage. Therapy crossed my mind, but who had time with overtime to repay the loan? Back at the table, Mom's onslaught continued. You use money to control us, to feel important. The restaurant hushed around us, patrons glancing curiously. I felt exposed, vulnerable under the chandeliers. I've paid for Dad's surgery, I said louder than intended. The mortgage for 2 years, this dinner tonight. Heads turned, but Mom smirked. There it is, keeping score. Her triumph fueled my rage, but clarity cut through. This wasn't new. It echoed every grudging thank you after a transfer, every qualifier on my achievements. Tom and Gary stared at plates, avoiding eyes. Sarah shielded the kids. Dad pleaded, please, girls. But Mom whispered viciously, you're pathetic, a lonely woman buying love she can't earn naturally. You're not even part of this family. The words landed like a slap, time freezing. Not part of the family? After emptying accounts for their survival? The air thickened, my heartbeat thundering. Rage built, cold and precise, washing away years of doubt. I lifted my wine glass steadily, as if toasting. Perfect, I said calmly. Then don't ask me for any more money. Shock rippled across faces. Mom's smugness vanished, panic dawning. Linda, she stammered, but I silenced her. If I'm not family, no obligations. Dad intervened. She didn't mean it, but I pressed. Didn't you, Mom? Silence confirmed it. I continued. No more dinners, mortgages, bills. Listing figures. $18,000 for surgery, $12,000 mortgage, $8,000 for Tom's car. Eyes widened, realizations hitting. This dinner, $350, paid by an outsider. Standing, I motioned the server. Separate my check. They handle the rest. Mom paled. Don't be ridiculous. Brothers panicked. We can't afford this. But I placed cash for my share, purse in hand. Figure it out. Like everything else now. Hugging Dad, I whispered, happy birthday, I love you. Then I walked out, cool air hitting like freedom. The drive home brought relief, not regret. My phone buzzed. Dad, Tom, Gary, but I let it ring, arriving at my apartment feeling unburdened for the first time. Voicemails piled. Dad's pleas, Tom's panic over unknown contributions, Gary's emotion, Mom's manipulation about debts. But her focus on losses, not pain caused, hardened my resolve. That hardened resolve carried me through the following week, a buffer against the guilt that tried to creep in. I deleted voicemails without listening fully, focusing instead on reclaiming my time and energy. For the first time in years, my evenings were mine. No frantic transfers, no late-night calculations of family budgets. I started small, cooking elaborate meals for myself, like herb-crusted salmon with roasted vegetables, savoring the flavors without rushing. The quiet in my apartment, once lonely, now felt peaceful, a space to breathe and reflect on how I'd arrived here. The decision to book the Hawaii trip came swiftly, a bold step toward self-care I'd postponed too long. Scrolling through travel sites, I chose a package that screamed luxury. A direct flight to Maui, a resort with infinity pools overlooking volcanic landscapes, and excursions like helicopter tours over lush valleys. The cost was eye-watering, but as I clicked confirm, a thrill replaced the usual anxiety. This was for me, not them. Packing was therapeutic. I bought new swimsuits and sundresses, items I'd denied myself while funding family needs. On the plane, sipping mimosa as we soared over the ocean, I felt the tension uncoil, the constant worry dissolving like clouds below. Hawaii was transformative. Waking to the sound of waves, I joined sunrise yoga sessions on the sand, my body stretching in ways it hadn't since college. Days were filled with adventures. Hiking rainforests where waterfalls cascaded into hidden pools, snorkeling amid sea turtles gliding gracefully through azure waters. One afternoon, I kayaked to a secluded cove, the paddle dipping rhythmically as dolphins arched nearby. Evenings brought luau's with fire dancers and fresh pineapple, conversations with strangers who became temporary friends. A solo traveler from Canada shared her story of leaving a demanding job. Sometimes you have to choose yourself to find balance. Her words echoed Dr. Chen's future advice, reinforcing my path. Returning tanned and refreshed, work noticed the change immediately. My reports were sharper, ideas bolder in meetings. The promotion to senior analyst came with a corner office and a team to mentor. My salary bump allowing upgrades like a reliable car and savings contributions. Colleagues commented on my energy. Vacation agrees with you, one said. But it was more. The absence of family drain let me pour into my career fully. I volunteered for high-profile projects, analyzing complex portfolios that earned praise from executives. Therapy with Dr. Chen became a weekly anchor. Her office, with its calming teal walls and herbal tea selection, felt like a sanctuary. We dissected the dinner's dynamics: Mom's jealousy rooted in her own unfulfilled dreams, my brother's complacency from years of enabling. Your generosity was love, but it became a crutch for them, she said. Sessions explored childhood patterns, the middle child invisibility driving my overachievement. I learned to identify guilt triggers, practicing affirmations like, "My worth isn't in what I give." Homework involved journaling sacrifices, revealing how much I'd lost: relationships, hobbies, personal growth. Dating re-entered my life organically. David appeared at a networking event, his easy smile drawing me in. Over coffee, we discussed industry trends, his marketing expertise complementing my finance background. Dates progressed to picnics in the park, where we'd share dreams, his of starting a consultancy, mine of financial independence. "You're so present," he noted during a sunset stroll, hands intertwined. Unlike Marcus, he understood boundaries. When family calls came, now rarer, he encouraged space. Our connection deepened without drama, built on mutual respect. As I thrived, family updates trickled through, occasional texts from Sarah. Without my support, changes unfolded. Dad returned to light construction consulting, his experience valued by local firms. Tom and Sarah attended financial workshops, cutting unnecessary expenses like premium cable. Gary landed a full-time role at a music store, budgeting his paychecks for the first time. Struggles persisted, late bills, tense discussions, but they were adapting, learning resilience I'd shielded them from. Sarah confided, "It's hard, but good. Tom's more involved at home, and the kids see us working as a team." 3 months post-dinner, Mom's heart attack news came via Dad's call. "She's stable, but it was close." Instinct urged financial questions, but I held back. Visiting the hospital, the sterile halls smelling of antiseptic, I found her frail yet reflective. Our talk skirted old wounds, focusing on recovery and small updates. It wasn't resolution, but a tentative bridge, hinting at possible healing amid the growth. Leaving the hospital that evening, the fluorescent lights fading behind me, I felt a mix of emotions swirling like the cool night air. Mom's fragility had softened the edges of my anger, but the wounds from that birthday night were still raw, not ready for full forgiveness. Dad walked me to my car, his hug lingering. "Give it time, sweetheart. She's changing." I nodded, driving home with the radio low, pondering if reconciliation was possible after such a devastating break. The confrontation at the dinner had been the catalyst, but now, months later, its echoes demanded resolution. 4 months after the dinner, before Mom's health scare, her letter arrived, a thick envelope with her neat handwriting. I left it unopened on my counter for 3 days, the paper staring back like a challenge. When I finally slid it open, the pages unfolded with careful words. "Dear Linda," it began, "I know I have no right to your time, but I must apologize for the pain I've caused." She detailed her therapy journey, admitting jealousy over my independence and success. "I resented you for solving problems that made me feel helpless," she wrote. "Your generosity highlighted my failures as a mother, and I turned it against you." She listed the sacrifices she'd ignored: the surgery bills, mortgage help, the watch. "Each dollar was a piece of your life I took for granted." The apology felt sincere, ending with a promise: "If you give me a chance, I'll prove I've changed." I read it repeatedly, tears blurring the ink, then discussed it in therapy. Dr. Chen nodded thoughtfully. "Apologies are steps, but trust rebuilds with actions. What boundaries do you need?" We crafted a response, brief, acknowledging her effort but firm on needing time. "I'm glad you're seeking help," I wrote, "but our relationship must be different. No expectations, just mutual respect." Sending it felt empowering, a bridge without full commitment. The heart attack accelerated things. Post-hospital, Mom and Dad attended couples counseling, Dad sharing updates in cautious calls. "She's confronting her insecurities," he said. When Mom requested a joint therapy session, I agreed after weeks of consideration. The office was neutral ground, Dr. Chen facilitating as Mom spoke first. "I was wrong to say you weren't family. That was my fear speaking." We unpacked the dinner, her snide comments born of envy, my cutoff as self-protection. Tears flowed, I voiced years of feeling undervalued. I gave everything to belong, but it was never enough. Mom listened, nodding. "I see that now. I was blind to your love." It wasn't instant healing, but a start, vulnerabilities laid bare. Family dynamics shifted gradually. Tom called with a genuine apology. I took your help without seeing the cost to you. Sarah and I are budgeting now, no more handouts. He shared how the fallout forced honesty in his marriage, stronger bonds with the kids. Gary, too, reached out. I've got a steady job, paying my way. I miss you, sis. Not your money, you. His growth was evident. He'd enrolled in night classes, pursuing music seriously. Even the kids connected. Emma's call about missing me led to aunt-niece outings, ice cream dates where she'd draw pictures of us together. Grandma says she's sorry, she'd whisper, her innocence bridging gaps. Work continued thriving. My team lead role expanded to international projects, traveling to conferences where I presented on financial strategies. The magazine feature as a rising star boosted confidence, colleagues celebrating with office toasts. David supported it all. Our relationship deepening, weekend getaways, shared cooking experiments. You're inspiring, he said during a hike, the trail winding through autumn foliage. Handling family with grace while building your life. His words affirmed my arc from sacrificial daughter to empowered woman. 6 months post-dinner, we tested new dynamics at a casual family barbecue. I arrived with boundaries, contributing a salad, not the whole meal. Conversations flowed lighter. Mom complimented my career without qualifiers, asking genuine questions. No requests for money surfaced. Instead, stories of their progress. Dad's consulting gigs, Tom's promotion from Better Focus. Laughter echoed as Gary played guitar, the kids dancing. It felt tentative, but real, a family rebuilding on equality. Reflecting in therapy, Dr. Chen noted, you've redefined belonging, not through giving, but mutual care. The confrontation's devastation had unfolded into growth, proving pain could lead to stronger ties if met with honesty. That realization in therapy lingered as I navigated the months following our initial family barbecue, a tentative step toward normalcy that tested everyone's commitment to change. I kept boundaries firm. No unsolicited advice on their finances, no automatic yes to invitations if I needed space. Instead, I channeled energy into my own growth, embracing the independence that had blossomed from the ashes of that fateful dinner. The freedom was intoxicating, like discovering a hidden reserve of strength I'd never tapped. My career surged forward with renewed vigor. The promotion had opened doors to leadership roles, and I found myself mentoring junior analysts, guiding them through complex investment models with the patience I'd once reserved for family crises. One project involved optimizing a client's portfolio during market volatility, requiring late nights poring over data trends. But unlike before, these hours energized me, not drained me. No guilt over neglected calls from home. The company recognized my contributions with a spot on an industry panel, where I spoke on financial resilience for women in STEM fields. Success comes from setting boundaries, I shared, drawing from personal experience without divulging details. Applause followed, and networking led to collaborations that expanded my professional network. Outside work, self-care became a ritual. I joined a local gym, attending spin classes where the thumping music drowned out lingering doubts. Weekends included hikes in nearby trails, the fresh air clearing my mind as I reflected on progress. Reading became a passion again, novels about empowered women, finance biographies that inspired new goals. I even took a cooking class, experimenting with recipes like Thai curries and Italian pastas, hosting small dinners for friends who'd stuck by me through the turmoil. These connections, free from family drama, nurtured my soul, reminding me that relationships could be supportive without demands. Therapy with Dr. Chen evolved too, shifting from crisis processing to future building. We explored dating patterns, why I'd chosen partners like Marcus who couldn't handle my commitments. You're attracting what you know, imbalance, she observed. With David, it was different. Our dates involved mutual give and take, like planning a weekend trip to a vineyard, tasting wines under golden sunsets. He shared his own family stories, distant siblings, independent paths, and understood my need for space. I admire how you've rebuilt, he said one evening as we strolled a lakeside path, fireflies twinkling. Our intimacy grew naturally, without the shadows of obligation, leading to conversations about futures that included each other. The financial literacy workshops I started gained traction, held at community centers for young women navigating similar pressures. Sessions covered budgeting basics, investment strategies, and crucially, spotting exploitation in family dynamics. Your worth isn't your wallet, I'd emphasize, sharing anonymized anecdotes from my journey. Participants opened up about overbearing parents or siblings expecting bailouts, their stories mirroring mine. One woman, a nurse in her 20s, confessed funding her brother's habits. I feel guilty saying no. Guiding her through boundary exercises felt rewarding, turning my pain into purpose. The program expanded online, with recorded videos reaching hundreds, feedback emails affirming the impact. As I flourished, family adaptations continued, their growth paralleling mine. Dad's consulting work stabilized income, allowing small luxuries like a new tool set. He called weekly not for help but to chat, sharing garden updates or book recommendations. Tom and Sarah's budgeting paid off. They saved for a family vacation, sending photos of the kids at the beach. Thanks for the wake-up, Tom texted, acknowledging how my withdrawal forced accountability. Gary's music career took shape. He gigged at local venues, his full-time job providing security. I'm standing on my own, he said during a coffee meetup, pride in his voice. Even Mom progressed in therapy, journaling insecurities and sharing insights in letters. I'm learning to celebrate your strength instead of fearing it. Emma's birthday invitation tested the new normal. Please come, Aunt Linda, it's unicorns. Her card read, I attended, bringing a gift but not the party funds. The gathering was joyful, games and cake without underlying tension. Mom hugged me goodbye. I'm grateful you're here. It felt authentic, a far cry from the resentment-laced dinners of old. This phase of independence wasn't without challenges, lonely moments questioning if reconciliation diluted my growth. But Dr. Chen reassured, integration strengthens, not weakens. Embracing this balance, I saw how the confrontation's fallout had gifted me authenticity, a life where giving was choice, not compulsion. As the anniversary of Dad's birthday dinner approached, I found myself reflecting on the profound shifts in our family, the path to reconciliation, weaving through apologies, therapy, and deliberate changes that transformed resentment into respect. The barbecue had been a success, but true healing required consistent effort. Moments where old patterns threatened to resurface, but were met with new awareness. Mom's letter had opened the door, her words a foundation we built upon in joint sessions with Dr. Chen, where vulnerabilities were shared without judgment. In one session, Mom admitted the depth of her envy. Seeing you thrive made me confront my own regrets, staying home, depending on your father. I projected that onto you. I shared my hurt, the years of feeling like an outsider despite my contributions. I just wanted to be seen, I said, tears flowing. Dr. Chen guided us toward empathy exercises, role reversing to understand each perspective. Outside therapy, Mom made small gestures, sending articles on finance she thought I'd enjoy, calling to check on my day without ulterior motives. I'm proud of you, no buts, she'd say, her voice warmer. Dad's role evolved too. He organized family game nights, ensuring everyone contributed, Tom bringing snacks, Gary handling music. These gatherings fostered equality, laughter replacing barbs. During one, Dad pulled me aside. You've taught us all how to love better. His words healed old wounds, affirming my place not as provider, but as daughter. Tom and Sarah hosted brunches where conversations turned to shared goals. Tom apologized again, detailing how therapy helped his marriage. We were coasting on your support, now we're partners. Gary's growth shone in his independent pursuits. He invited me to a gig, beaming as I cheered from the crowd. Thanks for the tough love, he whispered afterward. The kids bridged generations effortlessly. Emma and Jake's drawings arrived in the mail, colorful depictions of family picnics, including me prominently. Our special outings continued. Zoo trips where we'd feed giraffes, their innocent questions prompting honest talks. Why were you gone? Emma asked once. Sometimes families need time to fix things, I explained, hugging her tight. Their love was pure, untainted by past dynamics. Professionally, my trajectory soared. The workshops expanded to corporate seminars, empowering women in finance to set boundaries early. Learn from my story, I'd share, anonymized tales resonating with audiences. A book deal emerged, outlining financial independence with personal anecdotes. David celebrated each milestone, our relationship deepening into commitment. He proposed during a beach walk, the ring simple yet meaningful. You're my partner in every way, he said. Planning our future felt joyful, free from family interference. 2 years after the dinner, we returned to Meridian for Dad's 62nd, everyone chipping in for the bill. The private room felt familiar yet transformed. No tension, just genuine toasts. Mom raised her glass. To Linda, the heart of us all. Her eyes met mine, full of remorse and love. We laughed over memories, the watch on Dad's wrist a symbol of enduring bonds. Driving home, fulfillment washed over me. The confrontation had shattered illusions, but rebuilt stronger foundations. Have you faced similar boundaries? Share below. Like, subscribe for more stories of strength and healing. Remember, true love demands respect, and sometimes standing up saves everyone. Looking back on that transformative journey, the sharp edges of betrayal have softened into lessons etched gently into my heart. What began as a shattering declaration at a candlelit table evolved into a tapestry of growth, where each thread of apology and understanding wove us closer in ways we'd never known. My family, once a source of endless drain, now stands as a circle of mutual support, our conversations flowing with quiet appreciation rather than demands. Mom's eyes, once shadowed by unspoken jealousy, now light up with genuine pride when she hears of my latest workshop or David's kind gestures. Dad's hugs linger longer, his whispers of gratitude a soothing balm. Tom and Gary, my brothers who once took without seeing, now share their own small victories, their lives blooming from the seeds of responsibility I helped plant by stepping away. In the quiet moments of my day, sipping tea in my sunlit apartment, walking hand in hand with David through rustling leaves, or guiding a young woman through her first budget, I feel a profound peace settle over me. The woman who walked out of that restaurant, heart pounding with righteous anger, has faded into someone wiser, more compassionate toward herself and others. Forgiveness came not as a rush, but as a slow dawn, illuminating the beauty in our flawed humanity. We've learned that family isn't about what we provide, but the space we hold for each other's true selves. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a golden glow on the path ahead, I whisper to anyone listening, cherish your worth, set your boundaries with love, and trust that healing follows, gentle as a breeze carrying promises of tomorrow.